guys, T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review, and today we're going to be taking a look at MP-12 Lambor, or as most of us know him, Sideswipe. Now this is the masterpiece that's licensed from Lamborghini, as you can tell by the box, and he is freaking awesome. Let's just take a quick look at the box. It is a miniaturized MP box, like a quarter of the size. Back shows him interacting with MP-10. The bottom has the official Lamborghini product logo on there. Pretty darn cool. That's enough about the box though. Let's take a quick look at what you get inside. You get, of course, the instructions. Full color, very nice. Not gonna unfold them all. You get these cards, which everybody is obsessed with. Shows you his stats and stuff. Also don't care. Presumably this is some kind of invitation to a fan club or something down there. I don't know. It does say TakaraTomiFans.com, so that would tip me off. You of course get his weapons, his shoulder cannon, his gun, and then you get his pile drivers here. There are hollow on the other side, but from the one side they at least look good, or three of the sides I should say. And of course you get Sideswipe himself, and that is just to me a gorgeous alt mode. Now I can see a little bit of difference in the paint going across this top piece than the rest of the car. It is slightly darker because it obviously was a transparent painted red, so you're kind of getting a little bit of that bleed through, but really looking at this alt mode, it is perfect. You can see on mine with the paint, there are a couple spots on the window where he's got stray paint. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not going to try to scratch it off or anything, but it just looks good. Aside from this one panel here, which doesn't seem to sit flush, this is where his arms are. I mean, you really can't tell it's a Transformer too much. There's really not a whole ton of panel lines that are gonna tip you off there. Back also looks good. Would have liked to seen a little more detail on the exhaust pipes, but as it stands, it's really not that bad. And from the underside, it's actually pretty clean, to the point that they even have some, you know, mechanical details they're trying to show there. I don't know what parts these would be, but they're trying to disguise it so it doesn't look like a Transformer. Now you'll be surprised to hear that this actually borrows something from Dark of the Moon, and that's that there's this little square port here that's actually on a pop-up spring panel, and you can take his guns, which in every mode, this one is very hard for me to get in, I find, just because of the way this angle works. There we go. You can take his gun here and you can peg it on into that little, I don't want to call it mech tech hole, but it's essentially what it is, except squared. And you can give him that, and then there's that awkward slot on the side here. What that's actually for is to receive the handle of his handgun, and that goes in the top. And yeah, so you can kind of arm up his Lamborghini mode if that's something that you're into. I'm not. Whole spring is closed when you're done. That's that. So, in terms of how he looks alongside his fellow MPs, well, I have MP Optimus here. So let's just put him out here. And I'm not using my wide angle lens today, so it's a little harder to get Optimus into the shot with this trailer. But you get the idea. He looks really nice with Optimus. Of course he fits within the trailer. If we bring back the iGear Ironhide here, he fits pretty good. The van does feel maybe a little bit small, but it's not bad. I know the Lamborghini is actually a pretty wide car, so it may actually scale pretty appropriately. Having not seen a Nissan Vanette sitting next to a Lamborghini, I can't really tell you if the scale is exactly good or not, but hey, whatever. And we'll take back the mixed reviews Art Feather Bumblebee, and it does make a pretty nice looking classics or G1 styled masterpiece shelf. I really can't complain about how they all look together. I think they look great. So yeah, that pretty much does it for his alt mode. We might as well just move on forward and get to his robot mode. So the transformation to get him from his alt mode to his robot mode is actually surprisingly simple. What you're first going to start by doing is rotating these wheels on down, like this. Then the next part is you come to the side that's sticking out here, or these pieces that are sticking out, I should say. And it takes a little work, but you just free them from the side here and just open them up like that. And do it for the other side. Basically there's a little tab here and it seems like it gets pegged in back behind or in front of the rear wheel well there, and so you just kind of have to pull it just a little. So now that you got that out of the way, we can move on to kind of freeing up his legs here. We'll split the spoiler and take this rear piece here and just kind of unpeg it from the back part of his legs, and we'll just get started on doing his legs. I believe the instructions tell you to do the top part first, but it doesn't really matter too much. So you can take this, we'll split this apart more, and what you got to do once you have this is rotate this whole assembly on forward like that, and that's going to allow you basically to flip this whole assembly out for his knees there. If you don't do it, basically the back of this Lamborghini is going to get in the way. So what you're going to do is kind of fold this on down and you'll rotate this rear piece. It's a little bit tight up as far as you can go. And then the other thing is you have to take this piece here and rotate that on forward. So it looks something like this. And then we can just take his feet here and flip them on out. I'll do the same for the other side here. Rotate it down, rotate the rear of the Lamborghini up, move the feet like this, and finally this little piece here rotates up and out. Now you got to take out these tiny little panels here, which some people have missed when I saw some reviews online of it, which help fill in what are hollow legs. So you pull this on down, make sure you clear the Lamborghini thing, back of the Lamborghini. You'll see there's a little peg hole here. You want to get that in the little peg hole, and if you've done this right, you should actually see the back end of the car actually pegs into a little hole there. You can see there's a little bit of a groove right there. So that's what we want to do, is get this in here. And you can see it's all cut out perfect for the rear end of the Lamborghini too. So once you have that, you can just take your spoilers here and just fold them on in on the back. And you've got his legs. So now we're going to come up to the top part here. And what you want to do is split the rear windshield off, or the windshield off, and then you're going to take the front end of his car and bring it down. And you can see his head is in half. That is the split open gimmick. It's just there solely so it fits into his alternate mode here. Oh, take down his waist piece too. I always forget about that. So bring that down kind of like this. And then what we got to do is take this assembly, rotate it on backwards, So it's like that, and then you can bring the front part in, and it should kind of clip into itself, and then that'll give you the clearance to bring the rest of his chest down. Now you'll see you have the little peg here. There's actually a little hole in front of that bumper, so you just kind of peg it on in like so. Now we bring his arms all the way straight up, and let's raise the camera here. Bring his arms straight up, and then you fold this out to make his full arm, and just rotate it down and then clean it up. Bring it out, rotate it down, full arm. And then the final thing that you have to do here is you take the back of the Lamborghini right here, and there's a swivel here. You just kind of bring this on in like this, and make sure you can clear everything and just kind of fold it on in, and that's just basically to keep him from looking quite as large. So sits like that, fold everything down, and you've got Sideswipe aside for his hands. I'll show you his hands after, but first I figured we might as well put on his little pile drivers here, and all they do is slot right into between these panels here, like so. Oh, I lost one of his pile drivers. I blame Ironhide, he was sitting on top of it. So there you go, just peg them on in. And now he's got his two pile drivers that he used for one episode of G1, I believe. So take them out. And to get his fist out, all you do is open the panel here, and you flip it on out, close it on up. Same thing, obviously, for the other side. And he's just got a little bit of articulation on his fingers. They're all interlocked as one single thing, but it works. So there you go, you've got Masterpiece Sideswipe. And we can give him his shoulder cannon here, and we'll see if this cooperates to go in. There we go, that was relatively painless that time. And that's pretty nice. And we'll give him his gun on this hand. And it does have that peg into the hand system, so he holds the gun really nicely. And there you go, that's Masterpiece Sideswipe. Oh, just lost the light. There we go. So let's take a look at Masterpiece Sideswipe. This is, I think, where you're going to have some people who are going to like this and some people who aren't. One thing is, it depends on how you look at this guy. For a G1 toy perspective, the front end of the Lamborghini is pretty wide. It was very wide on the G1 toy. In the animation model, it would have kind of been a little bit smaller, like it would have squished in a little, sort of like they did with Rodimus, if you own him, or Hot Rod, whichever. Sorry, the gun is coming out here again. Yeah, and so he does have a little bit of a wide chest, which his head doesn't really feel like it's too small for his chest, but I've taken a couple pictures that his head looks really small for his chest. In person, I've never really felt that way, but pictures will make him look like that. As you can see, his legs, they are hollow inside, but this little panel goes a long way to kind of cover it up. It does not affect his balance or posability or anything. They are still pretty darn good legs. So he can get a pretty wide variety of poses. Now, in terms of posability, he's got some interesting joints going on here. His head, of course, is on a ball joint and a swivel. He does have painted blue eyes. Let's see if we can get in there. Actually, they might actually be light piped, because, well, I can't tell if it's actually painted or light piped. It doesn't affect it when it's closed or not, but if you look at the top, You can actually see the light blue in there, but it's totally covered once you put his helmet on. So I think it might have been translucent blue that's actually been painted after the fact. Articulation, he's got no real ball joints. He's got swivels for a lot of his things here. It swivels around and it swivels up and down. And then he's got the upper arm, the elbow here. The wrist is on a swivel also. You get the waist swivel to an extent. It's a little bit hindered by what he's got going on his back, but enough to get some poses out of him. When you come down to his legs here, again, looks like ball joints, but it's actually not. It is, again, a swivel, and it swivels both ways. So again, not a ball joint. The whole upper thigh can swivel. The knee is on a pretty good joint. There is no lower leg swivel, so all your swivel has to be done with the upper thigh. And then of course the feet, you get a little bit of movement just because of, well, again, another swivel, and then the transformation. You can kind of move things up or down as you need to. So overall, I mean, considering the guy doesn't have a ball joint on him, he's pretty darn posable. You can get him in a large variety of poses. You're not going to get anything that's going to go across his chest, but most ball jointed pieces can't do that either. So yeah, he's pretty awesome. I really like this masterpiece. So let's actually bring in some of our other masterpieces, and we'll start with Prime. We'll start with Optimus Prime because he's a legitimate masterpiece toy here. And you can see he scales pretty nicely with Optimus. And due to laziness, I just am bringing in Ratchet here instead of transforming Ironhide. And you can see the size difference between the two of them. There is a little bit of a size. I think in terms of the cartoon, Sideswipe may be a little bit tall compared to Ratchet and Ironhide, but ultimately it's not that bad. The fact that Ironhide and Ratchet are taller is pretty much all it takes for me to be happy. And finally, we'll bring in the little Art Feather Bumblebee. And that makes, again, another pretty nice looking masterpiece collection. So, ultimately, I think if you are a masterpiece collector, you don't even, why are you even watching the review unless you're just trying to get yourself ready for when yours arrives. This is an awesome toy. I really hope it comes to the United States. I don't know if it will or not, just because of the licensing with Lamborghini. I don't know if it's possible or not, but if it does, this is absolutely a pickup. And for the $60 or $70, I forget what he was costing online, he is by far a very worthwhile masterpiece toy. He nails the alt mode. The bot mode is pretty darn good if you can get past the slightly larger chest, which doesn't really bother me. He's nice and posable. He comes with all the accessories you really want him to come with. And yeah, he just scales great, especially if you're getting the new Toys R Us Optimus Prime. You need this guy. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next week.